I never thought I'd be one of those people who cut ties with their parents, but here I am. And honestly, I don't regret it. I grew up in what you might call a picture-perfect suburban family. We had the white picket fence, 2 cars, family dinners, all of that. But underneath the polished exterior, there were cracks, huge, jagged cracks that only widened as I got older. My parents, let's call them Carol and Ted, were always selective with their love. My brother Tyler could do no wrong, even when he was wrecking cars, skipping class, or getting arrested for shoplifting at 17. Meanwhile, I had to be the model child, straight A's, clean room, quiet, respectful, always helpful. And even then, I never measured up. I remember one Christmas when I was 12. I had worked so hard on a handmade scrapbook for them, pages filled with photos, drawings, little memories. Tyler gave them a broken mug from a dollar store he bought last minute. Guess who got praised for being thoughtful? This pattern continued into adulthood. Tyler got into a mediocre college after flunking out of his first choice, and they threw him a massive party. When I got accepted into an Ivy League school on a scholarship, they gave me a firm handshake and told me not to brag. Still, I held out hope. I kept thinking, if I just do a little more, they'll see me. Fast forward to adulthood. I became a civil engineer. I bought my own condo by 27. I met someone wonderful, Daniel. Kind, funny, supportive, everything I could have hoped for. We dated for 3 years before getting engaged. The moment I told my parents about the engagement, they seemed underwhelmed. My mom barely reacted. My dad asked, "You sure he can afford to support a family?" Support a family? I made more than Daniel, and we were already splitting everything evenly. But I brushed it off. I told myself they'd come around. We planned a small but beautiful wedding. It wasn't extravagant, but it was meaningful. Vows in a garden, soft music, only about 50 guests. I sent my parents the invite 6 months in advance. I called them monthly to keep them in the loop. I even offered to pay for their flights and hotel, since they lived 2 states away. Each time, they were non-committal. "We'll see, that's a long way, or we'll try." Still, I remained hopeful. Then the day came. I stood there in my dress, bouquet in hand, scanning the crowd. No Carol. No Ted. At first, I thought maybe there was a delay. Maybe their flight was late. Maybe they were parking. Maybe. But they never came. They didn't even call. I spent the entire reception putting on a brave face, smiling for photos, laughing at toasts, trying not to look like the daughter who had just been abandoned by her parents on one of the biggest days of her life. It wasn't until 2 days later that I got a text from my mom. "Hope the wedding went well. We decided last minute to take a cruise." The deal was too good to pass up. A cruise. They skipped my wedding for a cruise. I couldn't believe it. I called them immediately, trying to hold myself together. I wasn't angry yet, I was hurt. I just wanted to know why. When they answered, they were laughing. I could hear drinks clinking in the background, waves, music. "Oh, don't be so dramatic," my dad chuckled. "It's not like it was a royal wedding." "Yeah," my mom added, "we figured you'd be too busy to notice." Too busy to notice? I hung up. I sat there, staring at my phone, shaking with hurt. Not even anger yet. Just devastation. Daniel was amazing through it all. He held me, listened, told me that my worth wasn't determined by people who failed to see it. And slowly, over the next few months, I started letting go. I stopped calling them. I stopped sending updates. No more Christmas cards, no more happy birthday texts. Silence. They didn't even seem to notice, at least, not at first. About 2 years later, Daniel and I welcomed our first child, Lily. Becoming a mom changed everything. I had this tiny human who looked at me like I was the whole universe, and I vowed never to make her feel the way my parents made me feel. She'd grow up knowing she was loved, valued, seen. We didn't tell my parents about the birth. 3 months later, I got a voicemail from my mom. She'd heard from a mutual family friend that I'd had a baby. Her voice was strained, like she was trying to pretend she wasn't upset. "Call me back when you get this," she said. "We want to meet our granddaughter." But I didn't call back. Things really hit the fan last year. My dad had a stroke. It was bad. He lost mobility in his right side and had to go through rehab. My mom was overwhelmed trying to take care of him, and Tyler, shockingly, was nowhere to be found. That's when the calls started. First from my mom. Then my dad. Then my aunt. "Can you come help for a while?" "Just a few weeks. You're the responsible one." I didn't respond. Finally, I got a message from my mom that pushed me over the edge. She said, "I know you're still upset about the wedding, but family forgives. And now we need you." So I called her. She picked up immediately. "I knew you'd come around," she said. I didn't respond right away. Then I asked, "Remember when I asked why you missed my wedding and you laughed at me?" Silence. I continued, "Well, I laughed when I saw your message." She started to protest. I hung up. I blocked her number. I blocked my dad's. I blocked Tyler, who had just texted me, "Stop being so bitter." They're old. I wasn't bitter. I was done. It's been almost a year since then. Daniel and I are expecting our second child. Lily is thriving. Our home is warm, filled with laughter, bedtime stories, and love, the kind of love I never got growing up. I've learned that family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up. Who loves you unconditionally. Who makes you feel like you matter. And when people show you over and over that they don't care, believe them. Cutting off my parents was hard. But it was also freeing. Because now, when I laugh, it's with joy. Not pain. And I've promised myself this: I will never make my children beg for love. Not like I did.